In this series, Jack and I will each open one booster box from a Sun and Moon expansion, then we'll each build a deck entirely from those pulls and battle it out in a best of 3 series. The winner gets bragging rights for the week and a point on the scoreboard, while the loser gets to add some extra cards into their deck, giving them a boost into the following week. A new expansion will be introduced each episode, increasing our card pool, diversifying our strategies, and hopefully strengthening our decks. This is the OmniPoke Progression Series.
Okay, so we are back with another week of the Progression Series, and unfortunately it means it's another week of the wheel for me. I was hit by weakness last week. My Life and Rocks were not able to stand up too well to Joe's Gallipods, but that's fine. We're going to get another chance at the wheel. Me and Joe had a conversation this week about how you can split up and work the wheel more tactically. And one thing we said was that you can use the same card twice as long as you don't overlap twice. So you can see here I've gone for, or you can't quite see, but I've gone for one Ultra Ball and one Switch, one Ultra Ball and one Escape Rope. So that's legal because they're not the exact same pairing of cards, even though Ultra Ball overlaps. And then one Tapu Lele or one Ninetales GX. I think I was really struggling to what to put on my last pick, but I think Ninetales was one of the better pieces of our deck last week. And I already have basically two visions of what I want my deck to be, depending on our Crimson Invasion pulls, I guess. But I have a couple of ideas of what I want the deck to look like. And I think Alone Ninetales works with both of those kind of ideas based on cards we already have and potentially cards we could get. So it seems like it could be another good one. Let's spin the wheel. Let's see what we get. It is going to be... Oh, is it? It is going to be another Alone Ninetales. Okay, I really would have liked the Ultra Ball or the Switches, but I'm not too upset. Oh, I've misspelled this. I'm not too upset about getting another Ninetales, to be honest, because, I think it's a really cool early game Pokemon.
Crimson Invasion is the next expansion for us, and it's a bit of a strange one, actually. There are some pretty powerful GXs. There's only 8 possible pulls for GX Pokemon in this set, and I think by far the 2 premium ones will be Buzzwole GX as well as Silvally GX. That Buzzwole Jet Punch Pressure, obviously really good in the early game stages, setting up all sorts of evolving Pokemon, and even getting relevant pressure pokes into some of the GXs that are in the format as well. Knuckle Impact, really decent number as well with that 160, and the Absorption GX can be a usable option. I know Jack has been playing fighting for the last couple of weeks, so this could easily just insert into his deck straight away. And the Silvally GX, yes, it does have fighting weakness, but we actually do have the memory tools in this set as well, so we can also turn ourselves into a fighting or psychic type, which actually helps you counter that Buzzwole, so that could be interesting. It really helps out with retreat cost. It has inbuilt energy acceleration with that turbo drive, and the Rebel GX is a very powerful option. The Nihilego GX and Kartana GX both have pretty usable abilities and also have a couple decent attacks, but as far as I can tell, I'm going to be staying away from the other GX pulls in this set. Some interesting supporter cards in here as well. We have the Gladion and Lusamine. Now, I only pulled one Guzma, so getting Lusamine back for potential additional Guzmas as well as Acerolas could be a really big thing here. And because very often we're building around 1 or 2 key GX attackers, having Gladion to pull those out of the prize cards can really save some embarrassment. And just in general, if you think about Gladion being a choose one of the best cards from your top 6, then it's a pretty decent supporter in its own right. Like I said, there are those fighting and psychic memories which work with the Silvally exactly. There's also a couple counter cards, Counter Energy and Counter Catcher. Could allow you to capitalize on falling behind. Again, I only pulled one Guzma, so Counter Catcher could be a valid option for me if I play a slower deck. But again, not too impactful all in all, unless we really want to build around some non-GX options with Counter Energy if we pull enough of them. The more I look at it, the more the set doesn't seem to be massive, but I do think Miltank could be interesting. That Moo Moo Molt, when it's in the active and you attach energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, heal 90 from that Pokemon. I have been bouncing with Acerolas a lot, I have been using ropes and switches quite frequently, but having something to pivot into being this Miltank, then allowing you to effectively get that Acerola whilst also committing more energy to the same Pokemon, could be a really big deal for Golisopod to power up its own GX attack, could be really helpful for Lurantis as well, which I played last week. These are the cards that I have in mind, and maybe Miltank makes the one-off slots in our lists. I can't keep getting away with this. Let's start our week 74 Crimson Invasion. I really got lucky last week just by counter-picking Jack's deck. I feel like his list is way stronger than mine right now, and I'm just hoping that we can get anything useful from this set that can try and make my own deck list a little bit stronger and not just an entirely counter-pick strategy, which I basically had to employ last week because we didn't get much in Burning Shadows. Our first GX is the Alolan Exeggutor GX. It can be a decent snipe Pokemon if we commit a lot of energy to it. Like, yes, I have Lurantis, so maybe I could power this card up, but it really doesn't feel like it's worth it, especially with the low hit points on the basic.
Okay, we've got a full art Gladion, so at least we can pimp our deck out with some bling, but hopefully that's not going to take up the spot of a GX.
We pick up a Nihiligo GX. It can confuse and poison both active Pokemon. Not too shabby, actually. This synergizes nicely with the Darkrai GX I pulled as well, if I want to have an option of its own GX attack. So that's kind of interesting. Ooh, nice. We got a Buzzwole GX. Definitely a powerful card. Haven't really stepped foot into fighting too much just yet, and that's a really, really strong option. It's to be expected getting the meme GXs. There's the Guzzlord. Could just play this in 59 energy and see how it goes. Second copy of Buzzwole. That's really exciting. There is the option of Machoke in the format if we want to try and block this spread pressure, but I don't really think Jack's had a need to play Machoke in any of these games so far. I haven't really had spread pressure at all, so maybe I could just blindside him with some Buzzwole pressure.
We got another full art supporter, another fantastic one, Lusamine, albeit still no GXs, so cool to see, but hey ho, I would love this to be a GX card instead. Here is our first GX card. It's an Alolan Golem GX. This is not one I was particularly enthused about. I think it's actually one of the weakest ones in the set. Heavy Rock does block block any cards, which is quite funny. But obviously it's only a one-time use and we don't have great energy acceleration, so not one to write home about, I don't think, unfortunately. Okay, so our second GX of the packs is going to be an Alolan Exeggutor GX. Again, not one I'm overly enthused about. Dragon typing is quite nice. I think there's not a huge amount of fairy types that we're likely to play. I think it's a pretty free type in terms of weakness and obviously a decent amount of HP. But Tropical Head just isn't, I don't think, strong enough. Giving your opponent the impetus to choose how much damage goes on their Pokemon isn't great. And Dragon Hammer, just 4 energy for 120, isn't really good enough even in a format like this, which is a shame. So two duds on the GX front so far. We'll have to see whether we can get any others. Maybe some Sylvalis, some Buzzwoles, that would be great.
Second Alolan Exeggutor, it's trying to push me down that direction and I'm just not listening whatsoever.
Another full art Lusamine. I'm, again, happy to see it as long as it doesn't take up the space of a GX. I'm really hoping we're going to pop off in the last few packs.
We got 3 copies of Buzzwole. It's Tauros 2.0. Look at this. I could be such a fast pressure deck. Buzzwole with the option of like Golisopod. Maybe even just keep the Golisopod Lurantis around, because Lurantis can power up Buzz, and that's really not bad either. Another Guzzlord. Man, we are cleaning up on these GXs. It's a shame they're... Well, the Buzzwoles are insane, don't get me wrong, but some of these ones are kind of wasted pulls. Ooh, Kartana GX. I have played some Enhanced Hammers, and this is obviously a more searchable option, and even adds in a GX attack, which could be usable for me. Second Kartana. Okay, we're getting all the Ultra Beasts. Man, we've got a lot of GXs again. I feel like I'm always getting the good RNG on these pulls.
Okay, no more GXs so far. We're going to open this final pack. Hopefully we can see one final GX card. Unfortunately not. Okay, so we only got 2 GXs in this set. And they were both duds, which is fine because, like I say, I had a contingency plan for a free... Basically, I really wanted Buzzwoles. I wanted to build like Buzzwole, Lycanroc, essentially. Alternatively, I really wanted Sylvalis to be able to build some kind of Sylvali Lycanroc deck.
Just Buzzwole plus Acerola is just already an insane combo. I am so large, and I have such an easy 1-energy attachment option. Yeah, it's just hard to look past the power of the Jet Punch, honestly. Let's have a think and, once again, build a brand new deck.
I think we're going to end up building around Golisopod and Alolan Ninetales, and we're going to forget about the Lycanroc stuff. Feels kind of obvious to do that, and I can see Joe like almost counterpicking me again this week because that's, I think, a pretty clear direction for me to go in. But I don't think I have a choice, to be honest, because I don't think I can risk playing Lycanroc again and losing to... theoretically, what should be a better deck this week, because I think I guess there's not a huge amount of cards that Joe's deck benefits from this week, so it's not the end of the world, I suppose. But I still think it's a very easy deck for him to just pick up and play again. And I think I can do that. I can do what he did slightly better because I have a slightly thicker Golisopod line and like some early game pressure potentially if we don't get Galisopods down from Ninetales. Plus we have Brooklets to be able to maybe build like Vulpix and Alolan Sandslash engine to have some draw that Joe didn't really have. So I think we can build a similar but slightly more consistent deck than Joe had. I think we super low rolled, which is really sad to say. 2 GXs and 3 full art supporters is great for collectors, not great in a progression series. I think the only other interesting thing in particular was the Registeel stuff. I really like the idea of like a big basics deck, but I don't really think that's going to be strong enough, to be honest.
Okay, so this is what I've come up with. We immediately put the 3 Buzzwolls into the deck and figured out the rest later. This gives us a great new pressure attacking option. We have 3 copies, the Wimpods are free retreaters, we have a decent amount of ball search, so we should get this online pretty quickly, and we can just start firing off jet punches. And that's basically going to be the strategy. We're going to jet punch as much as we can, set up all sorts of damage. It works really nicely for the sort of middling damage output of its own Knuckle Impact. It's also very good for Glycopod, which can finish things off for just 1 attachment as well. I'm still going down that efficient 1 energy style route, but we do still have the Lurantis GX backup for that flower supply that I can do again, just to poke stuff, put stuff in range, whilst also loading up hopefully some fighting energy onto some bench Buzzwole. I'm also conscious that I do need to have a GX attack that can get over Jack's Ninetales GX from last week, so maybe just loading up a ton of grass for the Chloroscyph could be pretty useful, or again just doing like a little poke of that 40 can set up a 160 damage hit with Knuckle Impact with the help of Choice Band or with Kukui. I can't really abandon the grass package, it's too important. If Jack wants to play Lycanroc, then I can punish it. If he doesn't play Lycanroc, then he has less Gust. It's a win-win for me, and they're still some of the most efficient attackers I can play. The mascot, the MVP, the Alolan Rattata, still in the deck for that free retreat option. Kartana GX is just a more searchable version of E-Hammer, so in theory it's going to be more useful because I can just time it a little bit more correctly. And because we're playing Rainbow Energy, the Blade GX attack is an option for us just to simply take a prize card. That's not a bad thing when some of our other GX attacks are solid but expensive. And if we are going to be this like Acerola deck that I'm plotting, where I'm just picking up Buzzwole, jet punching again, picking up Glyzopod using first impression again, all that sort of stuff, I may just want to have a more efficient attacking option. The Rainbow Energy is trying to stitch this whole thing together. I can do some really funky plays like attach Rainbow to Kartana, then Acerola to get another use of the Slice Off, which could be interesting. I kind of sacrifice my own attachment for turn, but in order to remove an attachment for good for Jack, which is kind of like a cool option to have. And of course, the Rainbow Energy is allowing me to play the Garbodor, that Trash Launch option. It's a solid single prize attacking threat that can help me get through his Ninetales, which was an issue last week. I got kind of lucky with my Pyukumuku, so going to be nice to have that this time around. I chose not to play the Lusamine. I thought about it, but really I'm only trying to hit Guzma, to be honest with you. Maybe like Kukui, and I have to have already have played those at the right time to then get any value out of Lusamine. So it feels like a slow card, doesn't feel all that powerful when I often want to be drawing cards or weaving in the very powerful Acerolas turn by turn. So not too much of a shift from this week to last week in terms of the deck composition. I've just stripped out all those hammers, which were pretty solid for me actually last week, but instead I've upgraded the attacking suite instead and given myself a more reasonable way to get around Ninetales because the Pyukumuku was just straight copium. I do think the Lapras was very good for me last week, though. Those early collects were actually massive, so I'm thinking about whether or not just like more Laprases is better than the pressure of Buzz, but surely damage is just insane. I can't really falter the fact that Jet Punch over and over again is just nutty. 190 hit points on this guy is just absolute beefcake territory, and if stuff is dealing with it, I should have attackers in the back that I could prep to get going. So yeah, the Grass Suite should help us out on at least some of his attackers, and then we've added in the powerful new Buzzwole to the deck to give me a whole new aggressive dimension. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, so this is where we've landed this week. Very similar to Joe's deck from last week, to be honest. It's going to be quite interesting to see whether he brings something similar. We could end up having like kind of a mirror match. I'm not actually playing a single new Crimson Invasion card. I think we did kind of low roll. I think there was argument for things like Lusamine and Gladion, but I don't think either are particularly strong. I think I have to play quite a heavy count of Guzma and Acerola anyway, so I don't really have space for those other supporters too. I'm not overly happy with how the deck looks, but I don't think I can take the risk of playing Lycanroc again because Joe basically cooked me last week with Gliscopod. So I don't think I can take the risk of just playing a pure Lycanroc deck again. I also think it would be natural for Joe to think I was playing Lycanroc again because you gain Buzzwole potentially from this set, and that's obviously a pretty easy addition in, and then is a fairly good aggressive Pokemon in the early game too. So I think Joe may still think I'm playing Lycanroc, so therefore will potentially lean towards Gliscopod again. I do think my Gliscopod line is thicker and my supporters are better for the Gliscopod line, so I'm hoping that we can basically just try and leverage the fact that me and Joe may have the same deck, but hopefully mine can do the good stuff a bit more consistently, like the Acerola ring and the Guzma ring. The biggest weakness, I think, is still the ball search. I feel forced into using Vulpix almost every week. I could play Great Balls and stuff instead, but Vulpix lets me play the Brooklet package, and the Brooklet package plus Vulpix I think is still better than just playing Great Balls and gaining a couple of spaces. but I'm still but I feel kind of boxed into what I have to do because of my lack of like ball search for evolutions. Again, could play great balls, could even play pokeballs, but they're not that strong. I really need to get some ultra balls. Energy retrieval and 2 rescue stretcher I also feel are pretty stable given that Joe went down a hammers route last week and Sophocles is our best draw supporter, so we're going to have to discard spare cards at times. The other card is just the Alolan Rattata. I know Joe was a bit unsure about it last week. I'm also unsure about it, but again, having only 2 switch and run escape route means I think I need to have some kind of free retreater, because there's going to be times where I have to Guzma or Acerola and my energy attachment is taken up and I can't retreat out of anything, so I think I need something to have free retreat. It's a bit risky if Joe decides to go down like a sniping route. It's really not got much health, so I think I'm just going to have to basically forget it exists if Joe plays Buzzwole or Decidueye or anything like that. But yeah, we are where we are. I think the deck is really strong for a deck from last week, and I don't think Crimson Invasion is that strong of a set this week, so I'm not overly upset with the deck.
So Jack, we're back. It's week 4, and this time it's Crimson Invasion coming into the mix.
Yes.
Some interesting new Pokemon that we could be weaving into the decks. A couple supporters as well, which I think are kind of intriguing. And last week I left you with a strange situation of you built pretty much the best deck you could, but I just came and countered it. So how have you found the building process this week?
It was interesting. Yes, I definitely think I agree that I built probably at least one of the best decks. I watched back my analysis part, and I think all of my justification was right in terms of the best engine was definitely Brooklet plus Vulpix, given my lack of ball search. Maybe I should have been, like, part of me thinks I maybe should have been more aware that it was kind of obvious what I was going to do, and there was a very good grass type GX that was pretty low maintenance, so needed to be a bit more aware of that. But I don't regret it too much. I think I undersold Galissapod in my head, because obviously you've seen that I pulled a decent Galissapod line as well. I think I undersold it in my head when I was building. I was pretty tunnel visioned on Lycanroc, but I still think it was probably right in like 80% of decks you could have brought, and I just happened to hit the 20, which is fine. It happens.
It's hindsight. It's hindsight, right? It's one of those things where the bad outcome happened despite you having a very good on paper deck.
I think moving into the space with both Ninetales gave another level of like complexity of things that you needed to play around and stuff like that as well. So I think it was all in all an improved deck, just a poor matchup. Crimson Invasion is an interesting one. When looking through the set, I was actually really underwhelmed. I forgot how there's a couple of big bang cards in this set, but I think there's a lot of guff, and I don't know whether that's just in comparison to obviously Burning Shadows and Guardians Rising being very powerful. I feel like there's going to be less changes naturally between decks this week, potentially.
Well, I guess we'll find out, won't we?
Yes.
Do you want to call the flip?
Yeah, I'll go for Tails again, please.
It's a heads.
Okay.
I'll start.
Put some prize cards down, and good luck to you.
And to you. Right, I'll draw. I see. So you've weaved in Galissapod yourself. I'm going to...
Oh no, just the Wimpods.
Just the Wimpods, actually, yeah. Good point. Well, I am going to bench a Buzzwole GX. And I'm also going to attach to it. And I'll pass to you.
Okay, bit of Buzzgarb, eh?
Old Faithful.
Old Faithful. I'm going to start with a How of my own for 3 cards. Okay. I'm going to bench another Wimpod. Play a Timer Ball. And that's a double heads. That's huge. Some may say huge outcome. I'll get a Galissapod GX. Might be aware of that one. Might not be aware of that one. And I'll get a Ninetales GX.
I see.
Going to add both of those cards to my hand, and then I'm going to pass to you.
No wimps out here, then.
I suppose we could have wimped out. But
you ain't no wimp.
No. He started. He can finish what he started.
Brilliant. I'll play an S-Ball.
Yeah.
I'll grab old faithful Fomantis.
Okay. So just before the video started, Joe did show me that there was a grass energy in his deck. So when his first action was Buzzwole fighting energy, my eyes did widen.
I'll attach to Buzzwole, and I will Jet Punch for 30 on each.
Yeah, that seems good to me. Going to play a Vulpix. I'm going to Guzma up the Trubbish. And I'm going to use Beacon.
Okay.
Or another Beacon, another Galissapod.
Okay, I'll draw. I'll just play a switch, and then I'll Jet Punch.
Play a Kukui. Going to evolve into a load of Ninetales GX. Touch a double colourless to the load of Ninetales GX. I think I'm also going to evolve into a Galissapod here. And I might even evolve into a Galissapod here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to Ice Blade for 70 damage to the active Pokemon.
Okay. I'll draw. I'll Acerola. And I'll Ultra Ball away to Fighting Energy.
Okay, I'm seeing the...
Did you see
something going on here?
See what I'm up to there?
Yeah, that's... Some may even say clever.
I'll attach to the Lurantis.
Yeah. Gold energy, I hope you pulled that.
Right, you know my problems. Don't make light of my problems, Jack. Yeah, I'll just Flower Supply for the 40 and put 2 energy on Buzzwole.
I'm going to go for a rainbow energy on this Galissapod here. I'm going to play an Acerola.
Yeah.
Into the Galissapod. I'm going to bench 2 Vulpix. And I'll use First Impression for 120 damage.
Bosh. I'm going to Ultra Ball away Wimpod and a Fomantis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to grab a Kartana GX.
Yeah.
I'm going to slice off
Yeah,
Rainbow
that's-
Energy
Yeah. Good stuff, that is.
in this spot.
Good stuff, actually.
And then I'll Flower Supply for 40.
Attach a double colourless to Vulpix. I'm going to evolve into Ninetales. I'm going to use Acerola.
Mm-hmm.
Into the Ninetales. I'm going to bench a Wimpod. I'm sure you'll be well versed in a lot of these.
I'm picking up what you're putting down at this point.
A lot of these plays now. Yeah. I'm also going to bench a Sandshrew, and then I will Ice Blade, and I think I'm going to Ice Blade the Kartana.
I'll draw. I'll swing for 40.
I'm going to play a Mallow. I get 2 cards, do I? Two cards. I do not know
Any
what
two.
cards I actually want here.
Literally any of the two.
And it's just going to be another Ice Blade. Where's this one going is the real question. I think this Ice Blade is going probably onto the Buzzwole.
I'll draw. I'll play Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I'll attach a Rainbow Energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to Absorption GX.
Okay. I will promote a Vulpix, and I'll draw a card. I'll attach a Grass Energy to Wimpod. I'm going to evolve it into a Galissapod. I'm going to play a Guzma on... Yeah, I think we're going to take out the Lurantis. Yeah, and we're going to take out the Lurantis with First Impression.
Yeah.
Quite simply.
There it is. I'll draw.
Mm-hmm.
I'll Nest Ball for a Buzzwole. I'll Nest Ball again. I'll grab a Wimpod. I'm going to attach to Buzzwole. And I'll Knuckle Impact for 160.
Very weird Buzzwole just doing the number of states on its card, because it was always in a format with at least Strong Energy or
6 damage
Beast
mobs.
Energy. Yeah. That'll be loads. Okay. I'm going to play a Brooklet Hill. I'm going to get a Vulpix. Then going to evolve into a Sand Slash, and I'm going to Slush Rush for a card.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play a Howl for 3 cards. Okay, I'm going to play a Nest Ball. Get another Wimpod. I'm going to attach a double Colorless Energy.
Yep.
And I'm going to use Crossing Cut GX for the knockout, and I will send up a Vulpix for 2 prize cards.
Okay. I'll Brooklet for a Buzzwole.
3 Buzzwoles! At least 3.
You've seen 3, yeah.
I've seen 3. There's still loads of cards that could be Buzzwole.
I'll just attach to Wimpod. And I will just Jet Punch.
Okay, I will draw. And I do have a Guzma.
Understandable.
Guzma the Kartana for a first impression for game.
Very good.
Genius. My first game 1 victory. Let's convert this, team. Let's convert this.
I mean, your deck is substantially better than mine. I'll say that much.
I'll say it now.
All I'll say is this deck was possible last week, Jack.
Yes.
From everything I can tell so far.
Yes, there's...
I'll start. I also only played 1 draw supporter that game. I'll just say that. But, yeah.
You may see a familiar face.
Hello!
That's genius.
That is deck building. Right. What I'm going to do is, to play this Gladion, I'm going to save myself some time. I'm going to put my hand over here. I'll take this card. I'm going to Ultra Ball.
Yeah. Look at the bling. 2 grass energies. Okay.
Showing off. I'll grab a Fomantis. And I will pass to you.
Okay, I'll draw. Brooklet does lead to you getting Buzzwole.
Oh, does it? I didn't notice.
That's
a coincidence.
That's bad. Probably fine. I'm going to play How. You seem to have this under control this week, so yeah. Ultra Ball for Wimpod, and I will Nest Ball for a Vulpix.
Okay.
Free Retreat, and I will Beacon these 2 tickets. Just going to do a quick deck search whilst I'm here.
I will Free Retreat.
Mm-hmm.
I'll Evolve.
We're all wimping out.
I'll attach a Rainbow Energy.
Yeah.
And I will attack for 40 damage, and I'll just load up my active.
Draw. Gonna start with a How. How was Chloris Ice worded? It is worded.
Shame.
Like
a real shame.
That's good, actually. Good. Okay, we're gonna pop another Wimpod down. Gonna pop that aforementioned Sandshrew down, I think. Gonna evolve into Ninetales GX.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we play chicken with the GX for 40 damage? How many cards in hand?
I have 3.
Attach a double colourless here. And I'm going to Ice Blade the Rattata.
Sad. I'll poke for 40.
I'm going to evolve into Sand Slash. And I will Slush Rush once. Sophocles for 4. Evolve into Gallitopod. Attach a Rainbow. I'm going to play a Switch. And I will First Impression for 120.
I'll Rescue Stretcher 1 target.
He's back.
I'll bench him, and then I'll play an Illimer. 3's all round.
3's all round.
I'm going to bench a Trubbish.
I should do what you're doing and also work out how much this is.
Just quickly going to have a gander there. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, okay.
I'll attach a Grass Energy.
Ooh, okay. Did hit the grass.
And I will be Chloriscythe GXing.
Yeah, seems good. I'm going to go into the Rat. I'm going to Nest Ball first, actually. Let's Nest Ball. Let's get another Wimpod. I'm going to Sand Slash Slush Rush for 1. Sophocles, an Acerola, and a Rope. I'm going to retreat into the Ninetales. Attach a double colourless energy to Wimpod.
You wouldn't, Jack, have a heart.
I'm going to Ice Path GX.
Oh,
To,
bonk that over, yeah.
probably do a bit of that.
I'll Lily for 3 cards. I'll bench a Buzzwole GX. And I'll Gnaw for 20.
We'll draw. Slush Rush for 1. And I'll Howl for 3. Evolve into Golisopod. Attach a Grass Energy. I'm going to pay Retreat. And I'm going to Armor Press for the knockout.
I'll go Buzzwole. I'll draw. I'm going to bench 2 Buzzwoles. I'll play an Escape Rope.
I'm going to the Rat.
I'll just swap my buzzers. And we're going to play an Illimer.
Right, there we go. Even on the Illimers so
It's
far.
been so fair today. I don't... What?
Could have been fair in any of the other weeks.
Sick of it. Right, I'll attach. I suppose I'll do 30 to the Golisopod, and I'll take my prize.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to send up the Golisopod. I'm going to draw. Attach a Grass Energy to this Golisopod.
Wimpod.
No, this Wimpod, sorry. He's not a Golisopod yet. He's about to be a Golisopod, though. For 1 target. And I will evolve. Does like an Acerola, does Joe. So he could definitely have some Acerolas up the sleeve.
That is where I keep them.
And that is where, where they're commonly kept. Oh, I guess I've got a Slush Rush, actually. Let me do a bit of Slush Rush. And I think I'm just going to Armor Press for 100.
I'm going to sleeve up.
You've got the sleeves!
I'm going to Ultra Ball, Buzz, and a Howl. Grab a Wimpod. And I suppose I'll do 10 to the active.
Yeah.
And 30 here.
Yeah. I'll draw. Timer Ball. Okay, I'll Slush Rush. I'm going to Guzma your Wimpod. Yeah, I'm just going to use First Impression.
I think I just have to rely on Illimers. I'm going to attach
so
active.
back.
And I'm going to play an Illimer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I could have Rainbow Acerola the Trubbish, but I don't think it gets me anywhere anytime soon. So let's do this instead and try and get somewhere.
Yeah, getting somewhere is good.
Oh, that is the opposite of what I wanted to happen. I will dish out my 30 and 30 though.
Yeah. I'll draw, and I do indeed have a Guzma.
What are you going for?
I'm going to go for the Trubbish,
Okay.
please. And I'm going to go into my...
What are you going into?
GX, and I'm going to use the move Armor Press.
Yeah. All wise decisions.
Yeah.
Nice. This is what you could have been doing last week, Jack. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. So I'm going to say it's interesting because I don't know whether you saw the comment in the Discord, you saw the comment in the Discord, but someone did ask whether I regretted what I did.
Have you been getting coaching?
No. No.
They asked why you
certainly
didn't
not.
play the deck you've just played.
And yeah, it turns out that this deck is just probably better.
I think because you pulled 4 Guzma,
Yeah.
I think you could just play that deck. And I think it probably is stronger, honestly. Well, you've got a point on the scoreboard, Jack. So that's
Come on.
lovely. And
The
I
thing
felt
I'm most
well.
excited
Go
for-
on.
I was going to say the thing I'm most excited for is see how you tackle the wheel.
How I
'cause
interact with the wheel.
Yeah. I'm the only one with exposure to the wheel so far, so I'm interested in your sort of thought process. I think there's some stuff that we've kind of discussed, I guess, off camera that are going to be obvious additions for you on the wheel, but I can't see like a full 4 options for you. So I'm really interested to see.
And I also have to consider, I mean, each week we have to consider the next sets coming out as well, so that also changes things. I felt well and truly beaten today. I thought there was no hint of me ever getting anywhere near that deck, to be honest. Ironically, I pulled my 3 Buzz, and I very much considered just playing Lurantis with my 1 Turtonator, because I thought you were going to... I was pretty certain you were bringing Pod. Like, that's worse than the deck I brought last week, in the hope I cheese you again. That's essentially what that strat would have been. Right, wonderful. Let's call it a week, and I've got to figure out my wheel. So,
can't wait.
Let's reconvene.